I guess you haven't heard anything.
I haven't heard anything yet.
Yeah, we'll see. See what becomes of it.
Yeah.
I haven't really worked on expanding them quite yet, but the base case is
Nice.
hopefully.
Tell them what you told me about your thoughts coming into the characters.
Them or them?
Tell me actually.
Working with Miles is great, partially because he's my brother. He's always been my go-to guy when I'm making short films. If I'm in, a 24-hour film competition, I'll call him up 6 hours to our deadline and be like, "Oh my God, Miles, quick! I need something that sounds like the saddest Russian music you've ever heard in your life, and I need it now." And a couple hours later, he'll email me a sound file, and there it'll be perfect. It'll be amazing. So until now, I've only worked with him in that capacity of, emergency, quick, write me a song. And he just said, "Tim, I'd really love to actually score a movie, actually sit down lots of time ahead of time." And I said, "Well, Miles, I'm working on a movie right now. Here's the script."
Tim approached me about doing the soundtrack for this film. He gave me a working copy of the script that was not the final draft, which I looked through. I liked what I saw. It seemed like a very an interesting story in that it was a science fiction setup, but a very atypical science fiction story.
I can be rougher with him in a brotherly kind of way. And yeah, he works a lot like me also, where he'll have a moment of burning inspiration and work until it's done. And then he read it, and he almost immediately had the idea that I think he's going with.
To look for inspiration for the soundtrack, Tim showed me the Blade Runner soundtrack, which he really liked. And he wanted to maybe do something similar to this film, get a futuristic sound while maintaining something very basic that people would be able to connect to without too much difficulty. So to that end, I decided to base the sound around a 6-string electric violin, which is a very unique instrument. Obviously, the violin sound itself is something that almost everyone's going to be intimately familiar with, especially in a soundtrack setting. But being electric, being amplified, it does distort the sound a little bit. And it gives it just a certain something that I think probably the average listener won't necessarily be able to put their finger on it right away, but it's going to sound a little more robotic, a little less biological, a little more science fiction, just at the very edge of your awareness.
We talked a little bit about characters, just the kind of frantic, unstable quality of Ben's character, where he is emotionally falling apart. He's physically stronger, but he is emotionally broken. For the character of Alan, just like that steady rock where Alan almost doesn't move throughout the entire film. And he's emotionally stable, and he's calm, and he's helpful. All of these things Miles saw right away in the script.
As far as movies go, it wasn't action-packed or it was more about relationships and people than anything else. So in that way, it's a very interesting film to work on from my point of view. I composed 2 main themes, just a theme for each character. Ben's theme, for example, is it's a little scattered. It's a very sweet harmonic structure, very simple and sweet, but it's complicated by these dissonant lower notes that creep in just when you're getting settled with that sweetness.
So Ben's theme so far, it's not quite fleshed out, but feeling good.
And the dissonant notes just never let the harmonies quite land where they want to. He's never quite settled. He never is quite sure of himself. Alan's theme is very much the opposite approach. The harmonic structure of his theme is pretty stagnant. It's a very basic minor, brooding and slow theme. But the melody is where it reflects his character more in a very soaring and stable melody that is reassuring, but a little bit melancholy. I wanted to make sure that those two themes you could stack one on top of the other, essentially to make, you could see it as a third theme, but really just almost a different movement that makes you look at each of those themes in a different way than you were looking at them before.
That's what I got so far.
Wow.
Good.
Awesome. That's really good.
Good.
I thought that's really awesome.
Cool.
I'm excited about this.
I am really excited about it.
That's good. I'm really glad you guys like it.